Which small crossover SUV should you buy? The 2024 Subaru Crosstrek or the Toyota Corolla Cross? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. If you want to buy a small, affordable crossover SUV, the Toyota Corolla Cross and the Subaru Crosstrek need to be at the top of your list. These are two of the best-selling models on the market and have a lot going for them when it comes to performance, reliability, and value for money. But before we get into which one is the better buy and the better one to go with, remember, if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications. Now, in terms of overall size, I was surprised to learn that both the Crosstrek and Corolla Cross are very close in terms of overall dimensions and size. The Crosstrek, which is the one that I'm in right now, was completely redesigned for 2024 with updated styling, although it is more of an evolutionary redesign as opposed to a revolutionary one. Subaru certainly played it safe and didn't mess with the overall formula too much, and in terms of dimensions, it's more or less the same size as the previous generation. The Corolla Cross, on the other hand, was an all-new model for 2022, although Toyota did make some updates for 2023, such as adding a hybrid to the lineup for North America. Even though it is a relatively new model, it is more or less the same mechanically as the regular Corolla sedan and hatchback. Even though size-wise they are very similar, as far as the powertrains go, this is where they differ a lot more. The Crosstrek gives you two different options to choose from, both of which are a boxer 4-cylinder engine. The two lowest trims come with a 2-liter engine producing 152 horsepower, and the higher trims come with a larger 2.5-liter engine that produces 182 horsepower. Either way, you get a CVT continuously variable transmission and Subaru symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive as standard on every single model. Now, one interesting fact here, for the US, all Crosstreks with the 2-liter engine are manufactured in Japan, and the ones with the 2.5-liter engine are manufactured in the US. Whereas for Canada, regardless of the engine, all Crosstreks destined for Canada are made in Japan. Which means if you're a fan of Japanese-made vehicles, well, that's definitely a win for Canada. In other markets, however, the Crosstrek is available with an e-Boxer hybrid engine, which unfortunately is not offered in North America yet. Now, when it comes to the 2-liter and 2.5-liter engines that are offered, there's no question the 2.5 is the much better engine to go with. Now, there's nothing especially wrong with the 2-liter engine, but it certainly does feel underpowered and feels like it's struggling, especially at highway speed. Whereas the 2.5-liter engine feels a lot more relaxed and less labored. And even though it's still not especially powerful, the extra 30 horsepower that you get is definitely noticeable. And what's great is that either way you get more or less the exact same fuel economy, roughly between 28 to 35 miles per gallon, or 7 to 9 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, when it comes to the Corolla Cross, you also have two different drivetrains to choose from. You can get a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that produces 169 horsepower, comes with a CVT transmission, and a choice of either front-wheel or all-wheel drive. Like the 2-liter engine on the Crosstrek, this one does feel a little bit underpowered, and it is a little bit noisy, especially at highway speed, although it does have relatively good fuel economy. But although the 2-liter engine is perfectly fine and certainly does get the job done, the far more desirable option is the hybrid. The Corolla Cross Hybrid uses the 2-motor hybrid system that Toyota uses across most of their lineup. It uses a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine combined with a planetary gear type eCVT, 2 electric motors, and a third electric motor that powers the back wheels, giving you all-wheel drive. And thanks to the power of the electric motors, it produces 194 horsepower, roughly 25 horsepower more than the non-hybrid. But not only do you get more power and standard all-wheel drive, but you get significantly better fuel economy. The hybrid is easily able to achieve around 42 miles per gallon or 5.6 liters per 100 kilometers, which makes it a lot more efficient than the non-hybrid and the Crosstrek. So if you want better performance and much better fuel economy, then there's no question the Corolla Cross Hybrid is the winner. Now, in terms of the overall driving feel, both of these are very comfortable vehicles to drive. Neither one of these especially stands out when it comes to handling or performance, but if you just want a quiet, smooth, and comfortable vehicle, then either one of these is going to be perfectly fine. The Crosstrek, however, does have the advantage when it comes to off-road capability, if that's your type of thing. It has more ground clearance with around 8.7 inches, and it has a more capable all-wheel drive system with Subaru symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, which is a better system than the on-demand type all-wheel drive that you get with Toyota. And if you really want to prioritize off-road capability, or maybe you just want more of an off-road look, you can also get the Crosstrek with the Wilderness trim, which gives you even more ground clearance, all-terrain tires, and even more of an off-road rugged look. Now, to be fair, in reality, neither one of these is really a proper off-road vehicle. So if you're just looking for something that has a little bit more ground clearance and all-wheel drive when compared to the average vehicle, then either one of these is going to do the job perfectly fine. Now, when it comes to the interiors, although they are very similar when it comes to overall spaciousness, there are some important differences that you need to be aware of. Both have a relatively high-quality, well-made interior with some decent storage space. But when it comes to the control setup, especially with the infotainment system, this is where the Corolla Cross does have an advantage. Toyota's multimedia infotainment system does have a good user interface. It's relatively easy to use with a good menu structure, and it does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But more importantly, Toyota has maintained a lot of conventional controls below the touchscreen, which does make it a lot more user-friendly. Whereas with the Crosstrek, most of your functions are controlled using a single large touchscreen. Although the base model does use dual 7-inch displays with a row of buttons between them, all other trims come with an 11.6-inch touchscreen. Now, it's certainly not the worst, but it does take a lot of time to get used to. It can be finicky to use while driving, and I really don't like how a lot of the functionality, especially when it comes to the climate controls, are all buried at the bottom of the touchscreen. It's just not the most user-friendly setup, and I think having some conventional controls, at least for your climate controls, would have been a much better way to go. But aside from that, this is a very nice interior, perhaps even a little bit better than that of the Corolla Cross. You can also get some great options, like an available 10-way power adjustable driver's seat with power lumbar support, which is a very rare feature in a car in this price range, but one that a lot of buyers will really appreciate. In terms of space though, both of these vehicles are very close. Both have very similar room in the front and rear seats and very similar sized cargo areas. The Corolla Cross does have a slight edge over the Crosstrek when it comes to cargo space, but when you fold all the seats down, the cargo volume is a little bit bigger in the Crosstrek, so in terms of space, I would call them a wash. Both of these are also extremely close when it comes to safety. They both have top-notch crash test scores, and they also come with a lot of active safety features as part of Toyota Safety Sense and Subaru EyeSight. And as far as reliability goes, when it comes to cost of repairs and maintenance and overall operating costs over the long term, well, again, both of these vehicles are very strong. They both have extremely strong track records when it comes to reliability, and they use a lot of time-tested, well-proven components. So if you're looking to buy one of these to keep for around 10 to 15 years or even longer, either one of them should be a very safe choice. And I think that brings us to the pricing. The Crosstrek is priced from around $26,000 to $33,000 US, or $31,000 to $39,000 Canadian. Whereas the Corolla Cross is priced from around $25,000 to $29,000 US, or $28,000 to $36,000 Canadian. And if you want to get the hybrid, well, that's roughly around $3,000 more than the equivalent non-hybrid. So in terms of pricing, these two are very close. When it comes to the Crosstrek, I would say the best value in the lineup is the Onyx trim, which is known as the Sport trim in the US. This is the least expensive trim that comes with the much better 2.5-liter engine, but it still comes with a lot of desirable features, which makes it a great value. Whereas with the Corolla Cross, I would say the best value is the SE Hybrid. The hybrid is really just so much better than the non-hybrid that I really think it's a no-brainer, and the SE really gives you a nice combination between features and value. Now, of course, the Corolla Cross and the Crosstrek are certainly not alone in the segment. There are other desirable crossovers that you could consider for a very similar price, including the Honda HR-V and the Mazda CX-30. Both of which are also equally strong when it comes to their value, reliability, and overall design. But if I had to pick a winner, at least between this pairing here, I think the winner would be the Corolla Cross Hybrid. It's just such a great value for what you're getting. It has by far the best fuel economy in the segment, and it also has the best performance with the most amount of power. And all while maintaining the same level of safety, features, and practicality that you get from every other Corolla Cross model. The only major issue with the hybrid is availability. There is no question that Toyota hybrids have very long waiting periods, so if you need to get a vehicle in a hurry, well, this one might not work. in which case the non-hybrid or the Crosstrek would be a great alternative. In fact, between those two, I could see a really strong argument for going with the Crosstrek. Although it doesn't exactly have the best infotainment system, it does have a much better 2.5-liter engine, which is attractive. It also has a bit more capability with a better all-wheel drive system, and it's just a really nice, well-designed package. But really, regardless of which one you go for, the Corolla Cross or the Crosstrek, you really can't go wrong. Either one of them is an excellent choice. So which one of these two crossovers would you go for? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at my other videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and if you need additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to visit carhelpcan.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.